the first thing that we want to do is help them to get better as quickly as possible. The second thing that we want to do is make sure that those germs aren't then shared throughout the family. What we have for you today is, in my opinion, pretty brilliant because it is a no-touch digital thermometer. You can take everyone's temperature. You can even check that temperature of the baby's bath water. You're not cross-contaminating, so everybody is keeping their germs to themselves. We've sold more than 25,000 of these. It's V34617. This is from Homewell Essentials. This is a company that makes devices for doctors' offices and for those of us to use at home. Super easy to use, and you know, Janine, you and I were just saying, every home, I think, really could use one of these. Now, Janine Mullen is here. I cannot speak English today. Janine Mullen is here. You bring us great problem solutions, great personal care items. This is fantastic.
It is, because you know what, you're getting, it's FDA cleared, so you know that you're getting an accurate temperature reading, but it's no contact, so that means no cross-contamination. So the old way, you know, which did work, but you know, you were involving, you know, bodily fluids and putting things in your mouth and in people's ears. This is, you could actually take a sleeping baby's temperature and not even wake the person up. So I'll just show you real quick. It's this simple. It comes with the batteries, and it also comes with a little velvet pouch, but you just push the button right here. You go about an inch from your forehead or whoever's temperature you're taking, push the button, and there you have an accurate, clear, easy to read temperature reading. Now, because of the cameras, it doesn't always, you know, show up as quickly, but it's green. If it backlights green, that means that you do not have a temperature. If it backlights yellow, that means you're in the danger zone. And if it backlights red, then you definitely have a temperature.
$29.96. I love that it is kind of color-coded like that, because you and I were saying, how often is it the middle of the night when someone says, I'm not feeling well? You're trying to fumble around looking for glasses. All you have to see at first is that green, that yellow, that red. If it's in the green, you say, okay, not a fever. You see the yellow, then it's okay, let me get my glasses, let me get out of bed, let me get this taken care of. But what you don't have to do then is share the germs. I was saying to Janine last January, a year ago, I had the flu, my husband had the stomach bug, we both got the thermometer going on. You don't want to have to keep rinsing it down with alcohol. Did I remember to wipe it down? Did I wash it?
Yeah.
This, you don't have to worry about that. And I'll tell you what, easy to read, big numbers. You turn it on, point it toward the head, press the button, 97.7, I'm in the green.
You're in the green, that's good, good green, you're good to go. Remember that. Yellow, you're in the danger zone. Red, you have a temperature. Now, the other great thing is, see if you can hear, I have it on a little beep. I just like to hear that beep just for myself so I know that it's being read. You can turn that sound off if you know that someone's gonna, you know, maybe have surgery and you don't want to wait, you don't want even that little bit of a sound in the room when you're taking their temperature. So this is gonna save 32 readings. So you'll be able to go back. If your doctor says, well, you know, what was Katie's last 5 readings? You can go back and read the last, you know, 32 readings. You can also, there's a mode where you can take the room temperature, you can take the surface temperature, and of course you can take the body temperature. But the most important thing to know is that this is FDA cleared, it's accurate, and if there's a better way of doing something, this is something that is important enough that you would want to do it with our Homewell thermometer, maybe instead of a, you know, a glass thermometer or a thermometer that's going in someone's ears, or something that this way you're not touching the sick person at all.
Well,
you're not cross-contaminating.
Think about it. I don't care if you are 2 or 102. Holding the thermometer in your mouth or under the armpit, especially if you're not feeling well, you don't want to do it. You already don't feel good. You don't want to have to keep the mouth closed, especially if you have a stuffy nose. You know, trying to get a little kid to sit still to get a temperature is challenging at best. Now you point, you click, and you have a result. You don't even have to wait, as long as you do with some of the more traditional thermometers.
Right. Well, and even just looking at the screen difference, look at the screen of our Homewell thermometer versus, you know, a more typical thermometer that's digital. Well, our thermometer is accurate, and you're not touching anybody. You're not cross-contaminating. You don't have to worry, when was the last time I cleaned this? How do I clean this? You know, usually something like a thermometer comes out when somebody is sick, and that's when the germs are around. And you know, it is kind of scary nowadays when people get the flu. It's a little bit more serious serious level. This is fabulous for maybe someone to have that's a college student. You know, maybe if your parents live alone or you live alone, this is important for you to have for yourself, because no one is going to say that, you know, oh, you look pale, or maybe this could be more serious. Like, there's been times where I've been sick and I just have this right next to my nightstand, and I just kind of go over, take my temperature, and see if how I'm making out, you know.
Well, and the other thing is, don't forget there is that button to make it silent, so that if you have the young baby, if you have, you know, your son or daughter who's finally fallen asleep, they're finally resting, and that's what we need to be doing when we don't feel well. You don't have to have any sounds at all to wake them. More than 400 have now been picked up. This to me is peace of mind. It's easy to use. You're not sharing germs throughout the members of the household. If you use a Q card, by the way, you don't have to pay that $29.96 in full at first. Break that down into 3 monthly payments. With that first payment, this comes home. You have 30 days to give it a try. So here's the thing. I just want to remind you, that big button, the batteries go here in the back, right?
And it comes with
the batteries. Put the batteries in, you turn it on. That green light comes on. Then I'm going to put it up, what, about 2 inches from the forehead? And then you're going to press that gray button again. And then I have my reading, 97.9.
Yeah. I love
How
it.
easy is that? I think back to the old school thermometers where, like, you're trying to hold it this way. I couldn't even see where the mercury was going.
Right, and it's glass, it's hard to read. This screen is so big, it's accurate, it's FDA cleared, and it's really an essential. It's so important to know if you have a temperature, or somebody that you love has a temperature, it's good to know when germs are in the air, you're not cross-contaminating. That's so important. I mean, my sick little guy is using often the same thermometer that my mom's using, who's 75. So you don't want people that you love, you know, cross-contaminating one another. This is no contact. No offense. I mean, I adore my family, but I don't want to get sick either when they're sick. You know, I can't. So it's great. I can take your temperature so easily, and then the next second later, take my temperature, and I haven't touched you. I haven't. You know, there's no bodily fluids. There's nothing under the mouth or in the ear or under the armpit.
And I love you to death, Janine, but it's like, this is my, when everybody's sick, this is your space. It's like Dirty Dancing, my space. You want to be able to keep everybody well, and you want to keep those that aren't feeling well, get them feeling better quickly, but without having to put anybody else in jeopardy. And I'll tell you what, this flu season has been a little bit scary.
It is scary.
Even just for the random colds, different times of year. It's just, I think, something everyone should have. We've sold more than 25,000 of these. We added more than 600 onto that this morning, $29.96. And if you use your Q card, you can spread that out over 3 monthly payments. V34617. Thank you so much, my friend.
Katie.
This makes good sense.
It does.
We
It's
like when things
important.
make good sense. So, still to come, we are going to be talking